Hello and welcome back to Speedrun, you bunch of gamers.
Wow.
I'm Jamie.
I'm Jazzie. Jesus Christ, that was aggressive.
and joining us today...
I'm Ashelyn. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Ash, would you like to tell us a little about yourself before we dive into today's wonderfully card game and motorcycle themed episode?
Yeah, sure. I mean, what kind of stuff do you want to know?
Everything.
I mean, everything.
What's your blood type?
I won't be sharing my social insurance number, so I'm sorry to disappoint.
I can give your mother's maiden name. I already have a tracing of your apartment key, so it's fine. I just need the maiden name.
Oh, God,
I have your credit card number, but I need those three wacky digits on the back.
Anyway, yeah, so I'm Ashelyn, also known as Arcade Ashelyn, soon to be known as TheGeckoGuild everywhere on social media. I'm a streamer. I have just started up with like YouTube stuff. I play lots of games. And yeah, I'm a non-binary trans feminine person, pansexual. Yeah. There's some stuff about me. I use she, they pronouns.
Welcome to the show.
To see it. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course.
You and I actually know each other in real life.
Yes, we do.
And I've wanted to have you on the show basically since we started now. And now I'm just really glad to finally have you on, especially since we're talking about a different type of gaming today than we usually do.
A what?
Would you like for me to start the timer as we begin talking about Yu-Gi-Oh?
I would love
card games
more.
On motorcycles.
Card games on motorcycles?
Card games on motorcycles.
Card games on motorcycles.
You say.
So, Ash, as you are our guest, and thank you for coming on once again, would you like to start the discussion about card games that may or may not be on motorized vehicular transport devices?
Sure. Should I just go into like my memories of card games or like what kind of decks I used to play, or?
Yeah,
Before we dive into that, should we give a very basic overview of Yu-Gi-Oh for typically if the emails I've gotten to the podcast or anything to go off of are very retro gaming inclined audience.
So Yu-Gi-Oh, imagine you take 40 slips of paper and there's some glitter on the paper, right? Konami gets their Elmer's glue and they throw some glitter on the paper and you put them in these plastic sleeves and they're really fucking expensive. And then you shuffle all those pieces of paper and then you throw them at your opponent, and whoever throws the most paper at the opponent wins. That's Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, that checks out. That's pretty accurate.
Yep.
So I want to focus on memories, especially since both you and Jazzie used to actually play Yu-Gi-Oh on a competitive level, compared to me, where I was just a dumbass kid who spent all of their allowance money on printed cardboard.
Yeah, well, I played for quite a few years. I kind of started in the, oh God, when did I start? I think the time period, like the format that I started in, this is the language we like to use in Yu-Gi-Oh! The format that I started in was, I think like Inzectors were just kind of falling out of style, and it was wind-ups at the time, or maybe the other way around. I don't remember exactly, but I remember like Dark Worlds was still a thing, Inzectors were still a thing, wind-ups were still around quite heavily. Actually, this was the period of time where wind-ups had a like a combo where they could essentially force you to discard your entire hand on the first turn, which was nuts. And at that time, I was just starting to play and didn't know like almost anything about the game, so I was trying to build a really janky warrior deck. Like no specific theme or anything, just it was warriors.
Sure.
Yeah, and it was soon after that, however, that I started like that, because the elemental heroes are warriors. I started playing elemental heroes. Yeah.
Also, I'm sorry.
So that's how I kind of got into Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah. I'm sorry if you heard my printer go off in the background. Um, we got a new printer around Yule, and it's wireless. So sometimes my boyfriend will run stuff off up here in the office, and it's always funny when it goes off because it scares the hell out of me.
Burr.
But when it
Printer go
comes,
burr.
printer do go burr. I started Yu-Gi-Oh around 2002, which, as many of you will, rightly recall, that's when it came out here in the West. And I definitely remember opening up packs of Legend of Blue Eyes White Dragon, and it's really crazy to see people like Logan Paul opening those up, and they're worth like multi-$1,000 now. And it's funny because there are so many people that are like, why did these kids not take better care of the cards? Because we were kids and we didn't know they would be worth anything. So you better believe.
At the time, they weren't really worth much.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Exactly. Magic was expensive, but Yu-Gi-Oh wasn't. So we would just like put a rubber band around our decks. Usually no card limit at all. So sometimes they were like fat decks, and it was just all the cards that you had, like all your foils and everything, just like raw dogged on the lunchroom table, getting catch up on the Dark Magician, and then you cry about it. And it was
I stored all of my cards in like a little plastic Ziploc bag, like a sandwich bag.
Yes, the Ziploc bags, the original deck case.
Yeah.
But, so I started playing
literally, I was just sorry to, I was going to say that moment you literally just stored your deck by putting a rubber band around it and throwing it into your lunchbox.
Literally.
Yeah, basically.
That's what I did.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on, Jazzie.
No, it's okay. So that's when I started playing, just right at the beginning. And I started playing competitively. Like I would play like schoolyard matches, basically. Like there's that schoolyard is a totally different meta from like the actual meta game. Schoolyard meta is way different. As in, there's no ban list, and the person who wins is the one who has the rich parents to buy so many packs. But I started competing. I think I went to my first tournament in like 2004. Yeah, 2004, because it was chaos format, and I got Yada locked. And I remember I was a kid at the time, and this tournament was at the local library, and there's an official Konami judge who came by and was just like, did you really just put the Yada lock on this kid? And I had no idea what had just happened. All I knew is that I had no cards in hand, on field, and it was all gone. And every card I would draw, I put right into the graveyard, because that's how Yatagarasu works. And it's just like, I can't play the game. And the teenager got like reprimanded by the judge, and it was really funny. But I actually started like competing when I was a teenager, when I was in high school. This is when synchros were brand spanking new, and like when people were still running like Junk Fighter, because we didn't have any other synchros. So I really started competing around Teledad format, but I really didn't like dig into it until post Teledad, which was like Black Wings, there we go, Light Sworns, Gladiator Beasts, that era. So that's where I really like focus a lot of my attention, is like that 2008 to 2009 era of time is like very, very nostalgic for me. And then I competed a little bit more into the Zexal era. So I definitely did tour guide plays into Levier, or yep, and doing those crazy Exceed summons. And about the time Elemental Dragons came out, I was just like, my god,
Elemental Dragon.
Yeah, no. My response to Elemental Dragons was just playing the Dragon Draw Exodia deck, and just one turning all of them and making them really mad. And that was
Elemental Dragons was such a ridiculous deck, though. I remember that format very well.
Yeah, no, that's about when I started kind of drifting away from it. And just recently I got back into it as on like a casual level. Like I play it on Discord with a couple of my friends, and I just got my hands on a Spellgrounds deck mat. So now I've like very firmly cemented my V card right back into my wallet from whence I once lost it. And yeah, no, it's a really fun game, and it's really fun to like rediscover the old formats if you're not all the way up to snuff stuff like Pendulums and Links, which I know that I'm not. But yeah,
Pendulums
no.
were like just starting to be a bigger thing when I started to like kind of slow down with the game.
Hmm.
And so I never played with Lynx, but Lynx came out like just after I stopped playing.
Yeah, links are really cool. I've been playing around with them on Legacy of the Duelist, and they're pretty cool. I'm not going to lie.
Hmm.
Um, with pendulums though, that's also when I started to leave because I looked at them, I looked at the Klee deck, and then I saw the writing on the wall, and I was just like, oh man, Konami really fucked up. Because for those who
Yeah.
don't know, the pendulum mechanic is you can basically dump your whole hand on the board, which you may be thinking, I thought you can only summon one monster per turn. Not with special summons. You can just dump
Nope.
your whole hand on the board and then open up your extra deck and just dump all that on the board, and then fuck you, you lose. And
Oh my God, do you remember Dragoonides?
I don't want to remember Dragoonides.
Dragoonity OTKs. Oh my God. So
God.
like for people who don't know, Dragoonides were a like wing beast and dragon wind based deck. And they were all focused on like synchro summoning, but the combos in that deck, like if you could like if you practice them well, there were so many different things you could do with that deck, but like there were some turns where there was upwards of like 30 special summons in a single turn to accomplish a very specific board state to try and get victory. And it was wild. I'm trying to remember the exact name. I think it was Quasar Dragon.
Yeah,
Was
Quasar Dragon.
Yeah, like Quasar Dragoonides. Oh my God, was a nuts deck. I don't know if it was ever like really competitive, but I know a couple people in my area played that deck, and just the number of special summons and the time that you had to wait for them to do everything was just absurd.
There was this one kid in college that I would play against, and he had a deck that was based around level chain, and then he would do like
Yes,
11 other plays, and then eventually get into Quasar, and then I would just like
that level Quasar.
yeah, exactly, just like scoop it up. Or sometimes he would drop a Star Eater, and it's just like, okay, I'm still gonna scoop it up and
Hmm.
everything. But they were really fun games, and that's when I was playing Chaos Dragons as like my primary deck because I've always been a big fan of like control and tempo variants in whatever game I play. Like for example, in Magic, I played Blue Red Delver for a long time, which is like the quintessential tempo build, and I felt a lot of the same energy coming out of Chaos Dragons at the time. And then there was this one kid that showed up with Dark Worlds, and he was one of the
Yeah.
most like toxic and pretentious players I've ever met. Like went full on like would mansplain the rules to me just because
Oof.
his deck was really good because Dark Worlds were really good, but he thought it was him doing the plays, and it's like no. And then he would be, and you have a second main phase. Is thank you. I've been playing it since it fucking came out. So that is the only time in my life where I've actually gotten tilted at a game where what
Towers.
happened, I got so pissed at him that I just scooped up my cards, put them in my backpack, and I said, "What, are you done?" And on my way out, I backhanded his cards right the fuck off the table, and all of them went all over, like into the air, and like confetti and flared to the floor. He's like, "Whoa, what the fuck?" And he had to make a decision in that moment. Like, does he pick up his $500 deck off of the floor, or does he run after me to beat me up? And I'm not proud of that moment. But what I will say to the audience members is that he did deserve it, and yes, it was very, very funny.
So I guess with 3 minutes on the clock, on that note, unless you, if we want, we can do another Yu-Gi-Oh episode sometime. But do y'all have any particular like tournament stories that really stick out?
Yeah, the time where I almost topped a regional event with a Thunder Family Watt deck.
Damn. Look at you.
Damn.
Yeah, so one of my favorite decks that I used to play was a Thunder Family and Watt deck, and all of them, for people who don't know, are level 4 Thunder base monsters. The Thunder Family has Maw Hunder, Paw Hunder, and Sis Hunder, and then the Watt cards that you would use are literally only Watt Cobra and Watt Giraffe. And the point of it was that there was a card in the deck that was part of the Watt family lineup that was called Thunder Seahorse.
Yeah.
Or sorry, that was part of the Thunder family lineup, I should say. And Thunder Seahorse is what made the deck so good. Because the entire deck was an Xyz deck. So for people who don't know what Xyz are, they came just after Synchros, and Xyz summons require multiple cards of the same level, and you would overlay them on top of each other and summon the Xyz monster on top of it. And so typically you wanted a lot of monsters of the same level. But there was a lot of rank 4 Xyz cards that were really good at just playing like kind of a control type deck and like a control type strategy. So there was things like Abyss Dweller, which like nullified effects from like the graveyard. There were things like I forget the exact name of a card of the card, but there was another card where you could detach material to like absorb an enemy monster. And things of that nature. So a lot of removal, a lot of effect negation. But the way it worked was Thunder Seahorse would allow you to search for 2 level 4 Thunder type monsters that were under 1500 attack and had the same name. So you would run 3 Maw Hunter, 3 Paw Hunter, 2 Sis Hunter, 3 of the Watt Cobra, and 2 of the Watt Giraffe. And it was really funny because Maw Hunter and Paw Hunter both had the same effect where it just allowed you to summon another level 4 Thunder type monster. And you could just go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth until you summoned like a Watt Giraffe or like a Watt Cobra. And the Watt monsters allow you to just attack directly for like 1,000 damage to get their effects. And I don't know, it was just a really off meta and really silly deck that I'm really glad that I put so much time and effort into. And yeah, I won a lot of local tournaments with it and almost topped a regional event with it as well.
Nice.
That's incredible. And also the timer is going off.
Oh
that's
gosh,
it right
I'm sorry.
now. No, that's
No, that's
perfect.
fine.
Again, I mean, we can do another Yu-Gi-Oh episode sometime because this is, I'm not sure if you realized, but I wasn't talking much during that. Not because I don't have any stories, but as I said, y'all just have so many great stories with this that, like both of y'all, I'm serious. I just love.
When you were talking about Dark Souls, when you were talking about not Dark Souls, Dark Worlds, Jazzie, I was just like, oh my fucking god, yeah, literally. Okay,
yeah.
So the thing with the Dark Worlds deck is that like while Dark Worlds was good, it developed such a negative reputation because of the type of people that it attracted.
Oh yeah.
Like the type of people who ended up playing that deck were like the scummiest, most toxic people around.
They were the ones who
they were
wear,
so
like,
good at the game.
Out. They would wear tap out to like tournaments.
The edgiest.
Yeah, you could smell
edgiest Yu-Gi-Oh players. Yeah.
Did they smell of Axe?
Oh, they didn't smell of Axe. They smelled of just ass.
Well, Axe and BO mixed together.
Oh, I hate it.
They were the type of crowd who would like unironically listen to Trapped Headstrong.
I literally knew somebody who played Dark Worlds like consistently, like for like the entire time that it was actually relevant in the competitive scene. This person played Dark Worlds religiously, and like the type of person that they were, I remember like going to a tournament with this person, and the night before they intentionally didn't take a shower because they wanted their smell to distract players.
Yuck. No.
Yeah.
No. I found the best diversion tactic is I've been using Secret Brand deodorant since way before I even knew I was trans, and way before I started transitioning. That has always been like the deodorant that has worked best for me. So I would just walk in the card shop smelling like roses and baby powder, and I feel like that was a better distraction because it's like, who smells like a girl here? And it's just like tea. And that would always work wonders.
Girl where?
Yeah, exactly.
There's a whammon playing my card game.
There's a woman in my card shop.
You see, who needs card games on motorcycles when you can have just a woman in a card shop?
I could talk about Yu-Gi-Oh for so long though, like just all the different decks I played. I have such fond memories of that game, but such like ridiculously just dumb memories when it came to the community.
I think we're going to
What-
have
what
to do
you
another Yu-Gi-Oh episode.
Oh
I
yeah.
was gonna say I think I should call this like I think this episode's gonna be called like all right, you know how there's that PS1 game, Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories?
The one that's
Mhm.
coming in the mail from Canada Post.
Wink nudge along
Wink
with
nudge.
Diablo and Grandia.
Fuck yeah.
I like how I've made both of y'all indulge in PS1 addictions lately as well. I'm nothing if not a good.
I mean, I
influence.
was already addicted to the
Yeah.
PS1. I just didn't have the PS1 games.
I was going to say, what's
Yeah.
this Wii shit? I've already been there. I've been there since I was a kid.
No,
Yeah,
but,
PS1
like,
was my first system.
Oh, nice.
I'm being like a dealer. I'm hooking
Mhm.
y'all up.
A
I'm giving y'all the
dealer.
goods. I'm opening up. I went to like instinctively like open up like my jacket and do the motion, except I'm not wearing a jacket. I'm wearing my fiance's hoodie.
Mhm. You're like a headhunter for PS1.
The PS1 whisperer. This has gotten off track. This is just going to be our forbidden Yu-Gi-Oh memories part 1.
Mhm.
Cute.
We're gonna have to do this again.
Yes.
I've really enjoyed it.
Likewise.
Yes.
Thank you for coming on the
So-
show again. We're totally not going to see you in 5 minutes when we record the next episode that will be released a week after this one goes up.
And a week early for those of you on Patreon.
Stuff
Thank
we
you so much for having me.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, plug where everyone can find you.
So I stream on twitch.tv/Arcade Ashelyn. Soon I'll be rebranding that to the Gecko Guild, so keep an eye out for that name as well. I'm just waiting on a couple of like the art assets to come back, and then that change will be happening across all my social media platforms. You can also find me on Twitter under the same name, and also on YouTube. I have a channel that I'm just starting out with that I'm getting a lot of advice and direction from Jamie about actually. And yeah, I'm excited to see y'all there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And of course, this has been Speedrun, and if you have ideas for future episodes, then you can email me at jamie@stuffweplay.com, Jazzie@stuffweplay.com, or message us on Discord or on Twitter. You can find me on Twitter @stuffweplay or Jazzie@JazzieStarshine. You can also support us via Patreon, get extra perks such as your name and YouTube video credits on the Stuff We Play channel, and podcast episodes a week early at patreon.com/stuffweplay. Jazzie, did I forget anything?
That is it.
That is it. So with that, thank you very much for listening. Stay classy, and we'll see you next time.
Next time.
Next time. Jinx. All right. See ya.
Next time.